So on Friday in class, we covered page 113, which was multiplying a fraction by a whole number. We covered page 115, which was multiplying a fraction by a mixed number. And we covered 117, which was multiplying a mixed number by a mixed number. All right? So the first thing we did was multiplying a fraction by a whole number. And in order to multiply a fraction by a whole number, you need to change your whole number into a fraction, okay? And let's do an example of that. If we had 3/8 times 4, okay? The first step we would need to do is to change this 4 into a fraction in order to multiply the numbers. Okay, now how do we change any whole number into a fraction? Do you remember? To change any whole number into a fraction, all we do is take that number and put it over 1. Okay, that's how you change any whole number into a fraction. So does anybody know, or do you guys remember why this works? Well, it works because any whole number that has 1 under it, remember, fractions can always be read as a division problem, right? So 4 over 1 can also be read as 4 divided by 1, right? So this is the same thing as 4 divided by 1, right? Okay, so that's why this works, okay? So if you have any whole number, if you had 8, it would be 8 over 1. If you had 6, it would be 6 over 1. If you had 5, it would be 5 over 1, all right? So any whole number, if you're changing it into a fraction, it is the number over 1. Okay, so now we've changed our 4 into a fraction. It's 4 over 1, and we brought down our 3 over 8. Okay, now we're going to multiply across. Remember, we multiply the numerators and we multiply the denominators. So 3 times 4 is equal to 12, and 8 times 1 is equal to 8, right? Now, I skipped a step in there, so we're going to go back and redo this, because at this point, I would have to reduce this fraction, and I would have to say, what's the greatest or the lowest the greatest common factor that goes into both of these? And that would be 4. If I divided both by 4, 12 divided by 4 is 3, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. Okay, so now I have 3 halves, and then I would have to change this into an improper fraction when I'm simplifying. So how do we do an improper fraction? Again, 3 divided by 2, right? So 2 goes into 3 how many times? 1. How many are left over? 1. And then we use our denominator of 2. So our answer is 1 1/2. Now, what did I forget to do? I forgot to use cancellation, right? To simplify before I multiplied. So what I could have done was taken my 3/8 times 4 over 1, and I could have done cancellation first. There is between 8 and 4, 4 goes into both of these numbers. So I could have taken 4 from 8, okay? 8 divided by 4 is 2, and 4 divided by 4 is 1, okay? At this point, I would have multiplied. 3 times 1 is 3, and 2 times 1 is 2. All right, so again, I got 3 halves, and to change that into a mixed number, 3 divided by 2 is 1, with 1 left over, and again, use our denominator of 2. So that's our answer. Okay? So this is how you do multiplying a fraction by a whole number. We'll try one more. Okay? We're going to do 9/10 times 12. All right? So our first step again is changing our whole number into a fraction. Changing 12 into a fraction, we just put 12 over 1, right? Because it's 12 divided by 1, which is 12. Okay, so now we're going to bring down our fraction. All right, and now we're going to first cancel, right? Okay, so I can tell, I know these are both even, so I know at least 2 goes into both of those numbers. I don't think anything larger than that does. So I'm going to divide both of them by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. And 12 divided by 2 is 6, right? And now I'm just going to multiply because I don't have any more cancellation I can do. None of the denominators have a common factor with any of the numerators, right? Well, one does, but what good does that do us? Okay, so now I multiply. 9 times 6 is equal to 54, and 5 times 1 is equal to 5, right? Okay, at this point, I need to simplify and change this into a mixed number, all right? So 54 divided by 5 is what? Okay, 9 times 6 is 54, right? 5 times 10 is 50. So I think it's going to be 5 goes into 54 10 times, right? And we have 4 left over, right? Because 5 times 10 is 50. 54 minus 4, or I mean 54 minus 50 is 4. So we have 4, and again, we use our denominator over here. So it's 10 and 4/5. That's our answer. Okay? All right. So we are going to move on now to multiplying a fraction by a mixed number. Okay? All right, let's move this baby up. All right, so it's when we multiply a mixed number and a fraction, we keep our fraction the same, but it's really, you can't multiply a mixed number by a fraction, all right? What you need to do is change our mixed number back into an improper fraction. Do you remember we did that before? Okay, I'm going to do that one quickly, but what you're going to have to do is if you need to remember how to, or if you need more practice with that, you'll have to go back to my other video on changing mixed numbers into improper fractions. But we're going to try one, okay? So if we had 3 2/9, okay, times 9/10, all right? The first step would be to change our mixed number into a fraction or an improper fraction. Okay, so how do we change this into an improper fraction? The first step is to multiply the denominator by the whole number. Okay, so that's the first thing we're going to do. we're going to multiply 9 times 3, okay? So if we multiply 9 times 3, what do we get? We get 27, right? Okay. Now, we're still keeping our denominator of 9, okay? Our next step, okay, this is step 1. Step 2 is we need to add our numerator. So now we have 27. 9 times 3 is 27. We're going to add our numerator. So put our numerator up there, okay? So add the numerator to the answer. All right, so our answer of 9 times 3 was 27. Now we're going to add our numerator to that. All right. Now, if we do this, 27 plus 2 is 29. And then, oops, I forgot. Use the original denominator. Okay, so this was our denominator. So again, I had already put it down there. We're going to use our denominator, right? So now we have 29 over 9. All right, now we can do our multiplication problem. 29 over 9 times 9/10. Okay, first step we're going to do. Do you remember what we're going to do first? That's right, we are going to do some cancellation. All right, 9 and 9, they cancel each other out. So we get a 1 here and a 1 here, right? I don't think we can do anything else. So 29 times 1 is 29. And 1 times 10 is 10. So our answer is 29 over 10. But again, we need to simplify that and change it to a mixed number. So if we change this to a mixed number, it's 29 divided by 10, right? All right. So if I did that over here, this is, remember, we're thinking this in our head. 29 divided by 10, right? And 10 goes into 29 how many times? 2. And 2 times 10 is 20. Okay, when we subtract that, we have 9 left over, right? Remember, how do we write the fraction part? We take our leftover, right, our remainder, and we put that over our divisor, right, which is 10. So our answer is 10 goes into 29 2 times. That's our whole number. We have 9 left over, remainder 9 over our original denominator of 10. So our answer is 2 9/10. Okay, let's try one more. Let's do 7 1/2. 7 1/2 times 4/5. Okay, so what's our first step again? Our first step is to change our mixed number into an improper fraction. Again, I'm going to do just like I did up here. I am going to take my, okay, I'm going to multiply the denominator by the whole number. So my denominator is 2. Let's say 7 times, or 2 times 7 is 14, right? Then I'm going to add the numerator to the answer. Okay, so I'm adding my numerator, which is 1. And then, I am going to use my original denominator, okay, which is 2. All right. So when I add this together, I get 14 plus 1 is 15 over 2, right? Times 4 times 5. All right. Now I'm going to cancel, right? So let's see. I see that 5 goes into 15. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. 15 divided by 5 is 3. And then I see 2 and 4 here. 2 goes into 2 one time. 2 goes into 4 two times. All right. Now I multiply across. 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. Now, when I change this to an improper whole number or mixed number, actually it's going to be a whole number, right? 6 divided by 1 is 6. My answer is 6. Okay, so now we're going to move on to multiplying mixed numbers by mixed numbers. Okay? All right. Now, when we're multiplying mixed numbers by mixed numbers, we have 2 mixed numbers to change into improper fractions. Okay, so it's the same thing that we just did, except instead of having to change one number into an improper fraction, we have to change 2. Okay, so an example. If we had 10 and 1/4 times 3 and 3/5, okay, I would need to change both of these into an improper fraction. Again, let's get our improper fraction changing rules, right? What did we say about changing an improper fraction? Okay, so first step was what? To multiply the denominator by the whole number, right? So let's do that. Multiply the denominator by the whole number. So we're going to say 4 times 10. Okay, so we get 40. Next step, add the numerator to the answer. Okay, so our answer is 40. Now we're going to add our numerator, right, which is 1. All right, and then use the original denominator. So we're going to put our denominator of 4 down here, all right? All right, 40 plus 1 is 41, right? So we get 41, and our original denominator is 4. Okay, so let's try this one over here. All right, multiply the denominator by the whole number. Okay, so 5 times 3 is 15, right? Then add the numerator to the answer. Our numerator is 3, so let's put that up there. Use the original denominator. Okay, our denominator is 5. All right, so now 15 plus 3 is 18, and put our denominator down of 5. Okay, now we can just multiply. All right, actually, first we're going to do some cancellation, right? All right, with 4 and 18, I can divide 2 into both of those because they're even numbers, right? 4 divided by 2 is 2. 18 divided by 2 is 9. Okay, I'm not seeing any other cancellation possible at this point, so we're just going to multiply, all right? We multiply 41 times 9. Okay, we're going to have to do that up here because that's a little bit big. So 41 times 9. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 4 is 36. So that is 369. Okay, and 2 times 5 is 10. All right, now we have to change this into a mixed number. All right, so we're going to do 369 divided by 10. Okay, 10 doesn't go into 3, but 10 does go into 36. 10 goes into 36 how many times? 3. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 1 is 3. Okay, now we subtract. Remember our DMSB loop. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Okay, so now 6 minus 0 is 6. 3 minus 3 is 0. Now we're going to bring down our 9. 10 goes into 69 how many times? It goes in 6 times. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 1 is 6. Now we're going to subtract. 9 minus 0 is 9. 6 minus 6 is 0. So I have a remainder of 9. Okay? And I put that 9 over my divisor, which is 10. Okay? So my answer is 36 and 9/10. All right? Makes sense? All right. Let's try one more. Okay? Let's do 11 and 1/4 times 7 and 3/5. Okay. What's our first step again? We're going to change these both into mixed numbers. Okay. Changing them into mixed numbers. First step. Okay. Multiply the denominator by the whole number. So in this case, when I multiply my denominator 4 times 11, I get 44. Then I add the numerator to the answer. My numerator is 1, so I'm going to put plus 1. Use the original denominator. Put this all over 4. That's my original denominator. Okay? Then when I add this together, 44 plus 1 is 45, and my denominator is 4. Okay? Now I'm going to go over to this one. Okay? Multiply the denominator by the whole number. Okay? My denominator is 5. My whole number is 7. Okay? So 5 times 7 is 35. Add the numerator to the answer. Okay? 35 plus 3. 3 is my numerator. Okay? Use the original denominator. That's 5. So I'm going to put a 5 there. Okay, 35 plus 3 is 38 over 5. Now I can multiply. Okay, first thing I want to do is cancellation. I can see that 5 goes into 45. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. 45 divided by 5 is 9. Okay, and then I have 4 and 38. And I know that both of these are divisible by what? They're both divisible by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. And let's see, how many times does 4 go into 38? Well, we know 4 goes into 36 9 times. So, or I'm sorry, excuse me, we're doing 2. I'm sorry. How many times does 2 go into 38? Well, let's figure that one out. 38 divided by 2. 2 goes into 3 how many times? Once. 1 times 2 is 2. Now we're going to subtract. 3 minus 2 is 1. Bring down our 8. 2 goes into 18 9 times. 9 times 2 is 18. Subtract, and we get 0. Okay, so our answer is 19. Okay, so up here we have 19. Correct? Okay, now we can multiply. And I kind of got this in the way, so let's just get this out of the way here. Okay. All right. So if we multiply across, 9 times 9, so we're going to have to do that actually too. So let's just do that up here. Okay, 9 times 19 And 9 times 9 is 81. And 9 times 1 is 1, or 9 plus 8 is 17. Then we have 171. Okay. So let's bring down our answer right here. Okay. So 9 times 19 is 171. And 2 times 1 is 2, right? Okay. So now we have to change this into a mixed number, right? We have to change our answer into a mixed number. All right. So again, 171 divided by 2. 2 goes into 17 how many times? 8, right? And then we multiply. 8 times 2 is 16. Now we subtract. 17 minus 16 is 1. Now we bring down our 1. Okay, now we divide again. 2 goes into 11 how many times? 5. Now we multiply. 5 times 2 is 10. Now we subtract. 11 minus 10 is 1. Okay, so this is our remainder. And to change our remainder into a fraction, we take our leftover remainder, which is a 1, and we put it over our divisor, which is 2. Okay, so this answer is 85 1/2. When you change this improper fraction to a mixed number, it is 85 1/2.